So good morning, everybody. As I said, I got my hat on because it's a bad hair day today. It is 11 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're talking about content creation and gaining a following on social media. Now, I got to preface this by saying I am not a social media maven. This is not, I'm not the expert on this stuff, but I have kind of paid attention over the years and seen what's going on out there. So over the next few minutes, I want to just share with you some ideas that I've come across, some things that you might be able to use going forward, particularly around content creation. I don't have the big following on social media to be the expert to claim that I know everything on this, but I do know how to find ideas for content and how to actually create some things that people might be interested in reading or viewing or interacting with over time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and start my Google Slides presentation with you. Okay, this is one of the ones that was asked for. So when you see this little by popular request on here, that's because somebody asked me for this, or multiple people may have asked for this kind of content. So getting started, what are we going to talk about today? Why is it important to have great content on social media and just online in general? Some things we're going to talk about there. Mistakes that people make. Most people make the same mistakes in the beginning when they first start trying to generate content and trying to interact with people online. What you should be doing, and the importance of having a schedule around doing that so that you can make sure that it becomes a system for you. How to actually find and generate content. And when I say generate content, you're going to be surprised, some of you, at how easy it really is. But I'm going to show you a few examples of actual websites that I go to find ideas as well. And some additional resources, some things out there, some sites that I go to on a regular basis, YouTube channels that I watch on a regular basis to learn this stuff, and just some encouragement for you to go out there and learn some more, and then hopefully some time for some questions. So why should you care about having great content and gaining a following online? And more particularly, where should you be doing it? You need to have a content online because, well, number one, even before the pandemic, it was important to have some kind of a presence online. People are looking for information online before they talk to you. Information about real estate, about the process, about who they should talk to. They're looking at all that stuff online before they ever reach out to a realtor. To the point at which we've become so conditioned to look online for reviews. And I apologize, I don't have the stat, but it was a massive number. North of 70% of people trust online reviews more than they trust their own friends when they ask for referrals for service providers. To me, that was just absolutely shocking. Somebody would trust a stranger online because they left a review on a website more than a personal recommendation by somebody. It's just shocking to me, but apparently the stats say it. And I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about Facebook today because Facebook is still the market leader, right? This stat is a couple of years old, but I'm sure it's very close. It remains the most widely used social media platform. Instagram is growing massively, absolutely, but it's not something I'm an expert at, and it's a different kind of content creation that happens there. So I'm going to talk mostly about Facebook and your own website, simply because I'm more comfortable with it. And again, there's a misconception out there that young people are not using Facebook. They're all abandoning it and they're going to Instagram and they're just, they're not paying attention to it. So I want to dispel that myth right now. This stat is from last year. 90% of millennials are on Facebook. 77.5% Gen X and 48.2% of baby boomers. So when we think about Facebook and our websites and doing online content generation, I hear a lot of people say, well, Facebook is a dinosaur, nobody's using it. No, that's not true. 90.4% of millennials are using Facebook. So it's still important. You still have to have a presence there. So that's why I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about that. And not to say that others aren't growing and aren't doing well. That's not my case at all. One of the other reasons I want to talk about Facebook in particular is most of you are already on it, right? Instead of trying to learn some new platform, let's just use what we're already using in a better way. So that's why I thought I would focus on that. So some mistakes that I made and that I see people make on a regular basis on social media and online, okay? Haphazard posting without a schedule, with no goal in mind, with no plan, just, seeing some random piece of content and just resharing it with no comments, with no opinion, with no relevance to what you're doing, without thinking about what the impact might be down the road, and just reshare, 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 right? It's not really smart content generation. In fact, you're not generating anything. All you're doing is spreading someone else's thoughts. So that's not content generation. And I see a lot of people getting way too political, and I fall into this trap myself, because you have a strong opinion on something and you can't believe that other people don't believe the same as you, so you want to share that out there. But it's a mistake to do too much of it, okay? To political and religious sharing, and people being reactive to a situation. A good example, again, is the pandemic right now. People posting all kinds of stuff that they haven't researched, they haven't fact checked, they haven't really done their due diligence on it, but they're just firing it off there over and over and over again, and it's just noise. Okay. The other one is just too much business content. People really want to get to know you. So if all you're doing is posting listings all the time, or if you're posting national real estate stats that aren't meaningful to local buyers and sellers, it's just noise. Again, you're posting haphazardly, right? Not having a clear voice. Excuse me 1 second, my cat is being annoying. Sorry about that. Not having a clear voice, not having a clear understanding of what it is that you're trying to communicate. That's a mistake that people make. Being too bland. I just said it a minute ago, you don't want to be too political or religious, but you can be too bland. Posting those national stats on a regular basis, they're not meaningful to the local person. Maybe in the long term they are. People are trying to start thinking about making a move, or they start thinking about family planning, and they want to know the long-term things that are happening, and the national stats do have an impact on that. But it's the local information that's more meaningful to them, and how's it going to affect them living in this particular neighborhood, not just national. Get right down to city, to neighborhood, to street level information. That's really where it gets important. So don't be too bland in your content, and just, again, resharing junk, right? In the end, you're just shouting into the wind. And if all you're doing is posting on a regular basis, and you're not engaging with people, you're not actually commenting, you're not actually having conversations with people, you're wasting your time. Okay, so these are the main mistakes that I see people making, in particular on Facebook, on a regular basis. Okay. What you should be doing, you should be very, very consistent. If you're developing content and delivering it, you need to be very, very consistent. It's actually more important than what you're saying. If you're trying to create a following on any social media platform or online, just even on your website, if you want people to keep coming back, you need to be consistent in your messaging and in the timing. You got to have a schedule of posts that go out on a regular basis. You need to be constantly out there and telling people, I'm going to be back on this date with more information on this. And then letting know every Monday I post, or every second Tuesday I post, whatever it might be. Being consistent is more important than the content itself in the beginning. Okay. You just need to get a following, and people need to know that you're going to be there. If you post once, and this is particularly bad if you're doing blog posts and there's a date at the top, right? And somebody lands on your website and they go to your blog and they see the last post was, May 4th, may the 4th be with you, May 4th, 2018, and you haven't posted in 2 years, next, they're just going to keep moving on, right? So you need to be consistent. Back at YOUmedia is something that Century 21 put in place for us a couple of years ago now, that really does help with consistency. If you've got it turned on and you're allowing it to post on your business channel for you on a regular basis, at least once a week, often twice a week, there are posts going out, and you don't have to think about it. So this is a really good thing. It's a good starting point. It's an automated system to make sure that you've got at least some kind of content going out on a regular basis. And perhaps I'll do another session sometime particularly on Back at YOUmedia, and how you can use that to help you manage all of your social media. But just know that if you've got that turned on and it's working for you, you are generating some content on a regular basis. The pushback I get on that, on Back at YOUmedia is, well, my content is the same as Andrew's, which is the same as Jess's, which is the same as Ann's, right? Everybody's got the same content going out on a regular basis, and I don't want that. So people are turning off their Back at YOUmedia profiles. That's a mistake, because Andrew's sphere is not the same as my sphere, which is not the same as Jess's, which is not the same as Anne's. We see each other's content because we're all friends. We're nice people, right? So we're all friends on Facebook. We see each other's content. So it appears that we are just sending so much of the stuff out there on a regular basis that it's a problem. But in reality, it's the consumer that's looking at that content, our sphere, that our friends and family that are looking at that content are not seeing it 15 times. Maybe sometimes they see it twice. Usually it's not as big a problem. So Back at You Media does really help with this, but I want you to go farther, okay? What you should be doing, first and foremost here, finding and creating relevant content and have a voice, okay? I've put this note here, it's okay to have a position on things. In fact, having a position that's contrary is a very good thing, right? So you're going to find or create some content out there and have a bit of a controversial position on it. It's going to generate conversation. I'm not saying be a jerk on purpose just to generate conversation, but take a stand and state your opinion on something. As long as you can back it up and have an intelligent conversation about it, it's a better way to engage people in conversation. And at the end of the day, what is social media other than a conversation, right? It's a way to engage with people. What we forget often too with social media is it's not just a screen. I'm not just posting this out there like a billboard, right? The other people that are looking at this are in my immediate sphere. There's a person on the other side of the screen looking at what I'm posting. So I'm not just shouting into the wind, and I shouldn't be just reposting stuff. It's not a billboard. I'm actually communicating to a person that's chosen to be friends with me on Facebook. So remember that. Finding content. Okay. Most common complaint I hear is, I don't know what to post. I hear you that I should be doing this stuff and I want to create content and post it, but I don't know what to post. What kind of content should I be creating? So I've got a few examples here of ways for you to find and generate content. I'm actually going to show you answerthepublic.com here in a second. But answerthepublic.com is a website you can go to. Why don't I just jump to that right now? Come on now. Answerthepublic.com. This website will go out to the internet and find questions that people are asking right now about what you ask it about. So discover what people are asking about, and it's given an example of chocolate here, right? So here are some other examples I've used before. Anybody got an idea for something they'd like to search out there? Somebody hit your space bar and ask what we should be looking for.
Sourdough bread.
Sourdough bread. That's really real estate related. Sourdough bread. So I just search sourdough bread, and what answerthepublic.com does is goes out to the internet and asks, what are people asking about sourdough bread right now out there on the internet? So just give it a few seconds. You get 3 free searches a day on answerthepublic.com. You can sign up for a premium account, but I don't think you need to. 3 pieces of content every single day is way more than you're going to need. Excuse me. So what I'm looking at here is the questions that people are asking about sourdough bread right now. So if I just go to this category, what? So people are asking, how sour is sourdough bread? How to make sourdough bread? Is sourdough bread good for you? What's this one here? Which sourdough bread? What's sourdough bread made of? And it just goes on and on. In that one section, there's days worth of content. I could probably answer all of these questions and write a book on sourdough bread, right? If I go down here, sourdough bread for bread machine, sourdough bread with yeast, sourdough bread without yeast. So it's tons of things that people are asking the internet right now about that topic. And if I had used building inspections, it would be, do I need a building inspection? Are building inspectors working during COVID-19? There would be tons and tons of questions that people are asking. So I think this is a really great way for you to go out and find content. If you're really not sure, you've got a topic, but you really don't know what content to generate around that topic, come to this website, ask the question, and the magic of the internet will help you. You can find tons of content ideas here, okay?
Are these, sorry, Doug, are
Yeah,
these
go ahead.
questions, are these questions people are asking Google?
Yeah. So which sourdough bread is best? Like, if I click that, let's see what happens. See, it goes to Google and asks the same question. Pretty cool, right? Any question you want, you just type it in. Like, let's do another search, okay?
We
What website is that?
answerthepublic.com. Go ahead, Catherine.
Is there any way of knowing where, like, can we locate it? Can we be like, what are people in Ontario asking?
No, I don't know a way to do that. Maybe there is. If your Google foo is better than mine, then maybe there's a way to do that. But what I would do here instead is, if I wanted to ask, let's see, Peterborough real estate. Let's do that. And I'm using the word Peterborough in there because it geolocates it, right? It targets it to just that area. So if I say Peterborough real estate and do a search, let's see what we get here. Gotta wait for it to do its thing. Excuse me. Now there's far fewer of them. Look at that. Nobody's asking about Peterborough real estate right now. 28 prepositions. Peterborough commercial real estate for lease. Peterborough area real estate for sale. Now what happens if I click that? Comes up with a bunch of websites, right? Kijiji Peterborough real estate for sale. So you can ask specific to geolocate those questions to find out about, are people in this area? Put the name of the town in there. Put in Havelock farm implements, and you'll get some interesting search results. Okay. So answerthepublic.com, I think, is a great source. If you just need to start generating some general ideas, excuse me, what kinds of questions are people asking? Because at the end of the day, the best content is answering questions. When somebody's got a question about, why is this not coming back? A question about real estate, are they calling up their realtor? Or if they've got a question about buying or selling, or they got a question about market stats, are they calling their realtor? Not usually. They're going to Google and asking the question. So if you go to Google using answerthepublic.com and ask similar questions or topic related questions, and then create content around that, excuse me, you're going to have a better chance of capturing the same search traffic. Would you agree with that? If I create a post somewhere that answers the question about which sourdough bread is the best, and I know that people are asking that question online right now, I might be one of the search results that come up, right, over time. So I think this is a great way to kind of come up with topics for articles that you're going to write. Okay. Feedly.com. I know I've mentioned this one before. Feedly is a great way to aggregate search or aggregate site information. So you guys have heard of website feeds before. You might not know what that is, and that's okay. What it is every time a website posts a new article, you can generate a feed based on that. They used to, RSS feeds are still around. Really simple syndication. RSS, really simple syndication. The RSS feeds are still around. What Feedly does is it can take any website and generate a feed based on that website. And I'll just show you what that looks like too. And what I had to do in the past, years ago, when I was searching websites on a regular basis, I would want to go to certain websites over and over again because I knew they had authority, right? I trusted the content that was being created there, and I wanted to be able to share my ideas based on someone else's content. So I would go to 10 or 15 different websites every single day to try to find what they were talking about. So I found Google had a feed reader. I think it was called, I don't even remember what it was called, but Google Feed Reader maybe, and it would aggregate all the information in one place for me. But they turned it off for whatever reason. 3 or 4 years ago, Google said, "Well, we're not going to run that anymore," so they shut it down. So Feedly stepped into and filled the gap. They probably do a better job than Google did. There are paid subscriptions for this, but again, I don't find the need to pay for it. I got tons and tons of content here. So these are the websites over here that I actually turned into feeds. And I haven't been here in a while. To be quite honest, look, this one's got 618 posts that I haven't read. So if I click that, what it does is it gives me all the headlines here, right? So, and as I scroll down, they take them off that total. So you can see the total going down, 612, 608. And all it's doing is above here, these ones have, they've scrolled through the feed. They're no longer visible to me. I can still click them, but if I come back to this website later, they'll be gone because it assumes that I've looked at those. But if I wanted to go to, there's one right here, right? Amazon Prime users can get these PC games for free this month. And if I click the headline, it opens the website so I can go and read that article. If I then find that article has meaning to me or to my friends, I could use some of this content or use this as a basis of a post that I would then put on my own website or on my own social media. Okay, so this is just a way for you to aggregate content into one place so you can find it easily. That's all Feedly does. It doesn't go and find it, go and find new sources of information. It just aggregates the sites that I want to use. So Feedly.com, there are instructions on how to use it. It's very straightforward. It's a little Chrome extension you can put in your computer. You can get Feedly on your phone, so you can go and find things and read about it on your phone when you've got some time. So that's another one that I suggest you should be looking at. Did I miss anything there? No. One thing I want to caution you, using websites like that to find other people's content, do not cut and paste someone else's post and put it in as your own content on your website. Okay, don't ever do that. You can quote snippets in the context of your own content, but don't copy and paste. Not only will you not get additional traffic as a result of that, Google is pretty smart, and you will actually get penalized. They will push your site down even farther because you copied someone else's content. Google rewards you for new and interesting content. It's okay to take a position on someone else's content and share it. That's okay, but don't copy and paste. And don't just copy a link and say, hey, read this article and post it. That's almost pointless. When I said before, take a position, have an opinion on something. If you find a website that you do want to share it, that's fine. But make sure you say, hey, check out this website. I read it, and this is what I found. You know, this information really seemed to make sense to me. I thought if you took point number 3 and point number 4 into account and started doing something right away on that, your life would really improve. You're taking a position, you're having an opinion, you're sharing your analysis of that content. All I'm trying to do here is show you how to find the content that you can then start to build your own off of, okay? The next one was answering everyday questions. You're out showing property and somebody says to you, hey, how do I find the septic tank? Do you guys know how to do that? Find out, answer that question, create a post. Hey, if you're ever looking at real estate and want to find out where the septic tank is, here's how you do it. So you can answer those everyday questions. And in all 3 of those instances, when you're creating posts like this, keep in mind that you don't have to be a professional writer, right? All you got to do is start writing as if you were talking to your friend, right? Keep the language, polite, but just talk as if you're talking to a friend, okay? Just generate it that way. Don't try to come up with some kind of polished prose. You are not Pulitzer Prize writers, and you don't need to be. Just write as if you're talking to a friend, okay? And you can ask questions of your followers, right? So on your business page, on your personal page, just ask a question. I've seen some agents out there and some other content creators recently that have gotten very, very good at this, asking questions on a regular basis, and actually having a conversation with people online. It generates a ton of content. And asking those questions and getting other people's opinion before you then formulate your own article based on that or your own video based on that means that you're going to be speaking to them. You're going to be repeating back to them exactly what they told you, and people like that. Okay, so it's a great way to get a pulse of what people really want to hear, and then just telling them what they want to hear. Okay. And that's as simple as on your Facebook profile, simply just typing in a question, right? And I've got a couple of examples here. So like the second one here, when you choose a realtor, what are you looking for? Literally just type that in as a post, hit enter, and wait. People will respond, okay? And when they do, make sure you engage with them. All right, turning ideas into content. So we've done the job of going out to the internet and asking the oracle, what should we be talking about? And we've got some great ideas. Now you got to start writing some articles, right? That's step 1. And this is a multi-step process, okay? You got to start writing some articles, and shorter is not better. I'm afraid to tell you. There was a time when we were told by Twitter and the like that 140 characters was, the entire attention span of the goldfish we call our prospects and friends and family. It's not true, right? People are smarter than that. So short is not better. I'm going to suggest if you're writing articles, 800 words minimum, 2,000 plus works really, really well. The best engagement I've ever gotten from articles that I've written were 8,000 words, 5,000 to 8,000 words. Those are the ones that really get people's attention. Okay. And this sounds like a lot, but if I record this video and then somebody do a word count on it, I'm just riffing here. I'm sure it's going to be 5,000 or 8,000 words by the time we're done this little session here. Okay. So, and I'm just talking to you because I know you, right? Same thing. If I was to write this out in an article, it would sound almost exactly the same. So it's not hard to reach that word count. The, the benefit is that you've got something that's really meaty and people can spend some time reading or not. It doesn't matter. The fact is you've got content out there and you come up on the search results. Okay. Because articles are by default full of keywords. If you're answering a specific question and talking about that, those keywords are going to come up naturally over and over again as you go through the process, right? So when somebody goes to Google and does that search about best sourdough bread recipes, and you've written an 8,000 word article about the best sourdough recipes and maybe referenced a few of them over the course of that article, people are going to find you more often. Google will reward you for having an article that's responsive and answers that question, right? The trick here is don't stuff it. And what I mean by that is keyword stuffing. I don't know if you've heard that word before, but keyword stuffing is what we were told to do 10, 15 years ago. We would build a website, and at the bottom of the website, at the very bottom, there would be a paragraph of text. And sometimes if you were sneaky, you'd make the text the same color as the background so nobody could actually see it. But it was just tons and tons of keywords because I knew people were searching for real estate Peterborough, for homes in Peterborough, homes in the West End. I would have all those keywords in there stuffed into the article somewhere so that I would fool, quote unquote, fool the search engines into showing my content. Doesn't work anymore. In fact, again, almost as bad as plagiarizing, keyword stuffing will get you downlisted and penalized in the search engine. So just don't do that anymore, okay? Have intelligent headlines that really speak to what the article is going to be about. Make sure that your article is natural sounding and is your own genuine content, and then you'll get a better results, okay? Some tips on when you're doing articles, especially for a website or a blog, anything like that, intersperse the text with some images. So inline images in the middle of the text as you go down. People's attention, they do want to see pictures. We're still visual creatures. We want to read the text. We want to see what you're talking about. So similar to this presentation, right here, I've got an image, right? I've got an image. I've interspersed those in the presentation because they work. And it's the same thing. If I was to generate an article based on this, those same images would be there, okay? All right, have a call to action at the end. If you're writing an article, you want to have at the bottom of it, if it's something you're going to post on LinkedIn or you think it might get reshared somewhere, have like a 15 or 20 word bio about yourself. Andrew McRae is a real estate professional in the Peterborough region, serving the area since 2015 or whatever the number is. And then for more information, contact Andrew at andrew.mcrae@c21.ca, something like that. So make sure you have some kind of a call to action at the end. And then share that on your website. I know the blog platform isn't up and running yet, but it's coming. So watch for that. Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a big one that people forget about for articles. Now, I said I would talk about Facebook mostly, but LinkedIn for articles is a really great place to post this stuff. You get a lot of traction there. In fact, if you go to LinkedIn and one of the first things on your page, it says write an article. It doesn't say reshare or post, it says write an article. So that's a great place to put that stuff. Next, turning ideas into content. Create graphics, right? People respond to images. And then the question I get is, well, I don't know how to find images. Well, here's how you find images. Unsplash.com is probably my favorite place to go, but there are others. Another example is pixabay.com. And why don't I show you an example of that? If I go to Pixabay, for example, these are free images and they're royalty free. So I can search this and use these images anywhere I want, okay? So let's do a search for sourdough. Oops. See what comes up. Okay, so the first images that you see, these are sponsored by Shutterstock. So if you click these top ones here, they tend to be really good images. You got to pay for those ones. But here's 55 free images of sourdough bread. So if I go down here and I kind of like this one, I can click on it and then click the free download. And then I can use that image on anything I want. Free for commercial use, no attribution required. Look at that. Right? So I could even put a graphic on that and then sell it it's completely free and it's legitimate. So you're not stealing images. You're not doing anything illegal here. You can use these on anything you want. So find images that make sense for your content. Like I wouldn't use a picture of sourdough and then talk about septic systems. That doesn't make sense. But I would use this for an article on sourdough bread because it's a great image. And there's nothing on here that stops you from modifying these images either. So I could cut out a portion of this and use it if I wanted to. Okay. Back to this. So, and there are others out there. I'm sure there are other great sites for pictures. These are just a couple that I like to use, okay? Unsplash.com, Pixabay.com, and then Canva.com. Now, I have done in the past, I've done some in-class sessions on how to use Canva. I hope you guys have tried this. It's a fantastic website. Tons of free options within Canva for you to go there and overlay text on images, to modify images, and you can download them so you can use them wherever you want, again, for free. They do have a paid option, but will give you access to some additional imagery and some small animations, that kind of stuff, but well worth checking out. And if there's enough interest, I will do another session on Canva. Or if you don't want to learn how to do that, hire someone to do it for you. Right? Fiverr.com is a really great place for you to go and find people that will do stuff really cheap. You can get people to do jingles for you and voiceovers and intro and outro music for podcasts and videos, or just do your images for you. Tell them, look, I need this image. I want it to look really classy. Find a few people online that have done what you like on Fiverr.com, and you work with an outsourcer. Really, really inexpensive. Okay, but make sure that you do something to jazz up your images. Video. This is a big one. So I'm doing video right now with you guys, and I know that a lot of you don't like doing video. You're nervous about it. You don't want to do something that looks half-assed. You don't want to do something that looks unprofessional. You want to have the best equipment and the best lighting and super professional. Stop it. Just do it. Okay, go out there and do some video. Don't worry about your tech. This is going to do just as good as just about anything else you're going to get out there. Honestly, the cameras on these things have gotten so bloody good, especially the newer iPhones. This is not an iPhone, but it does a decent job. The newer iPhones, I'm telling you, they're just phenomenal in terms of the video correction that they do in the camera. You don't have to even think about it. They pick up audio really, really well. So don't worry about it. You've got the tech in your pocket. You might want to think about using your headphones for better audio, or I've suggested this in the past, get yourself a lavalier mic. These things are beautiful for improving the sound quality when you're doing recordings, and they're cheap, 20 bucks for a lavalier mic that plugs into the phone. You can go wireless for a couple $100, but don't bother spending the money. I'm telling you. You don't need to do that. Once you've got some experience and you're comfortable with it and you want to spend some money on it, okay, but don't make that an excuse to stop yourself from doing it now. Just start doing it. Okay. I know that Jeremy started doing a bunch of Facebook Lives, and I'm sure there are others of you on the call that are doing the same thing, but it's not that hard. Just get out there and do it. Okay. And the more of it that you do, the more comfortable you get with it, the easier it is. It's nothing to do a video now because I've done probably a couple hundred of them. So just don't think about it. Just do it, and it gets really easy to do. Okay. Facebook Lives, along with video and content creation, because Facebook Lives stay on the platform afterwards if you allow it. Facebook Lives are a great way for you to really interact with people in real time and create some fantastic content that will then turn into a following. If you do them on a regular basis over and over and over again, people will come to expect them, right? People will share them. And over time, you will have a fantastic library of content that people can come back to over and over again. Okay. And I've talked about Facebook Lives before on how to do them and how to make sure you get great search results around those. So you can go back and check that one out as well, or just let me know if you got questions. Educational videos. You guys have your sphere of influence, right? You've got a database of, hopefully 200, 300 people in your database, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know what the number is, but you've got this list of people that you can communicate with on a regular basis. Why not do 1 or 2 educational videos every single month and send it out to them? That's content, right? Post that as well on your Facebook channel, your LinkedIn, your website, everywhere else, but do that educational content and send it out to them directly. And again, the next question I always hear is, well, what's educational content? Exactly what we talked about. Answer questions, share your knowledge and your opinion on things with your sphere. Those are educational videos. Tools. Couple of apps for you to use. Filmora Go is a free app. Again, it's got a paid version, but I downloaded it and have started using it more and more. Yeah, Aaron Marcinkowski's been using it for a while, and I'm sure a couple of you have been as well. It's pretty slick. You do video of any topic you want in any format that you want, and then pull that video into the app. You can add still images, and then it's got a huge library of themes to make it look, to pretty it up. They've got a library of free music that you can overlay on top of your video. Really easy to use. The first video I did on this, actually, you know, it was pretty intuitive. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't read an instruction manual. It was pretty intuitive. Another one is Animoto. That's a website, and I've used that for a few years too. The free version, again, only allows a limited length of video. I think it's 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. But if you're just doing something promotional, maybe that's good enough. And the paid version is not expensive. I think it's $10 a month or something like that. But what they do, again, is they provide you with templates to shoehorn your video into to make it look really slick. You can add images, and it's got, you know, moving parts for you. You can add text. So really easy to use, okay? And if you're using, again, forgive me, I'm not a Mac guy, but I'm sure there's, what is it? iMovie is very intuitive to use. And then on a PC, Windows Movie Maker, I think it's still called, it's still buried in the operating system in most modern PCs. Really easy to use if you want to do any kind of editing. But the raw video is fine. If that's all you've got, or if that's all you're comfortable with doing, is just shoot a video with no intro, no outro, no text, just do the video. Please just do the video and get it out there. Consistency. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. I feel like I'm repeating myself on this, but it's so important. If it's not in your schedule and you're not reminding yourself on a regular basis you have to do this, you're not going to do it. And that's text, content, graphics, video. You're not going to do them if you don't think about it on a regular basis. You will find excuses to put this stuff off, just like I used to, okay? So how often are you going to post? What can you commit to and stick with in the long term? Don't over commit, okay? If you're going to do 2 videos a month, do 2 videos a month. If you're going to do 1 post a week, that's an article post, or 1 post a month, pick a schedule, put it in your calendar so that you remind yourself to do it, and just stick to it, okay? You don't have to be, you know, posting, you know, a 2,000 word essay every day. You don't have to be posting a 30-minute video 2 times a week. It's overkill if that's not your comfort level. Find something you can stick to and just do that. Just get started on a small schedule, 1 or 2 things a month if that's all you can do, okay? Put it in your calendar and stick to it. Be platform aware. This is a bit of a note here because I started talking about a bunch of different platforms when I was working on this content for you guys. You do have to be platform aware. If I'm going to use Instagram, it's going to look very, 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 very different than LinkedIn, okay? So you got to be thinking in advance, where am I posting this content? Which audience do I want to reach? And then you got to tailor your content for it. If I'm doing LinkedIn, it's probably going to be long form text with some images, perhaps some video. If I'm doing Facebook, it's going to be video with some text along with it, generally speaking, or a longer form text post. If it's Instagram, obviously it's just images and short videos. So you got to think about the platform before you generate the content, okay? Don't try to shoehorn 1 piece of content into all the platforms, okay? And just my advice, pick 1 platform and get damn good at it before you try to do another one, okay? Like I said, people will begin to know when you post. If you're consistent with it, they will come to look forward to seeing it. And tell them when you're going to be posting your next piece of content, and use that social pressure as a lever against yourself to make sure you get this stuff done, okay? If I tell you I'm going to be producing this and you're bloody right, I'm going to spend some time to actually produce and get it out there, I don't want to look like the idiot that didn't live up to my obligations. So what does the schedule look like? Okay, so to keep it really, really simple, if you just want to get started on this, start here. Every single day, do 5 posts, right? And those could be reshares, they could be original content. Try at least once a day to do some kind of original content. It might be just a question that you ask. It might just be an opinion on something that you see out there, but something, at least one of them, make it original. 5 posts a day, comment on 5 other posts, okay? So actually interact with people. You see a friend has posted something that's really interesting, make sure you go and comment and say, hey, this was great. I really enjoyed reading this. Have you thought about X, right? And have a conversation with them about it. And 5, private messages. Reach out to people using direct messaging, either Instagram or Facebook. Even LinkedIn has it. Reach out to people and have direct conversations. You can't do it with everybody, so just do 5 a day, right? So you want to start to create a following and get some real traction. This is how you start it, okay? And creating content, you got to put it in the schedule. So I'm going to suggest that maybe on Friday in the morning, you spend a few hours and you create your content for the following week, right? So you spend a few hours, go find interesting ideas, create your content over that 3-hour period, and then just drip it out over the next week, okay? I said here, set it and forget it, but I don't mean completely forget it. When your post goes out, if someone interacts with it, you need to acknowledge them. Don't ignore people if they comment on your stuff. If they come back and ask a question and then you don't respond, you've dropped the ball. So you did the hard part of generating the content. Now the harder part is actually making sure you maintain that relationship. Okay, gaining a following takes time. There is no magic bullet. There's no shortcut to gaining a following online. And I don't care which platform it is, unless you want to spend many thousands of dollars to do advertising to get a really quick following. And honestly, my opinion on that is it won't be genuine anyway. They're only there because you ran the ads or did a contest or something, and then they're not really paying attention to you. They're just there because you ran the ad. It takes time, right? So don't be upset or discouraged if people aren't watching your videos, they're not commenting, they're not liking your posts. Don't worry about it. You got to keep at it. And over time, that consistency that I keep talking about will pay off, because you will have this library of content. The search engines will start to see you as an authority, even if people aren't interacting, right? If you're generating content on your website on a regular basis, Google notices that. They've got these search engine crawlers out there that are checking the stuff out on a regular basis. And if you're consistently generating new content, you will get better results over time. So don't be upset or discouraged if in the beginning you're not getting any traction. Just keep doing it, okay? And when I say just keep doing it, not a month or 2 months, like a year, just keep at it, okay? Your viewers and your search engines will know that you're developing authority, and they will reward you for it, okay? And the benefit here, I put at the bottom, like attracts like, people will self-police. Like if you've got an opinion on stuff, you're generating content on a regular basis, and you're talking about certain topics over and over again, because let's face it, we all have personal tastes, right? And likes and dislikes. The people that choose to interact with that are going to be people like you, right? And who's easiest to deal with is people that have already self-identified as birds of a feather. They like attracts like. So those people that interact with your content on a regular basis are probably the people you really want to deal with. They have a similar value set, and a similar interests and likes and dislikes as you. You're going to get along with them, and life is too short to deal with jerks. So this is going to be a great way for your clients, your would-be clients and prospects, to self-police and come to you based on content you've created. I think that's a great little added bonus to this. So some additional resources I said I would share with you. So I will share this slide presentation with everybody so you can have these links here if you want. Danny Wood, I've mentioned him a couple of times in the last little while. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel, Danny Wood Videos. He's a real estate coach and a realtor out of Durham area, I think. Travels all over the place now, but he just gives away tons of training content. He's got some great videos on using Canva, on creating some videos. He's got just a ton of great stuff out there. So please check him out. I follow his stuff all the time. This next link is, a couple of you on the call have probably heard of Kevin Kelly. He started Wired Magazine, and he wrote an article, and this is an old one. It's like 12 years old now. It was I think it was 2008 that he wrote the article, 1,000 True Fans. The point of the article, and why I would encourage you to go read it, is you don't need to have a huge following with hundreds of thousands of people watching your content. Back to what I've been saying, don't worry if you got a small number of views. If you have 1,000 people that you can go out and talk to on a regular basis, and they become your advocates and send you business over and over again, the lifetime value of those 1,000 true fans is massive. So don't worry about having hundreds of thousands of followers or becoming an Instagram influencer. You don't need it. All you need is a small group of people that will refer business to you over and over and over and over again, okay? So I would encourage you to go read that article. It'll take you 10 or 15 minutes to read it, but it's really made an impact on me. And finally, a couple of points here. Become a learner. Listen to podcasts. Browse YouTube. Like I follow this stuff on a regular basis. Between appointments and calls, I'm trying to learn more, right? So get out there and watch what other people are doing. Pay attention to what Century 21 Canada is putting out for you. They do a great job of generating a ton of educational content, especially during this pandemic right now. You should be watching daily their content. It's fantastic. And the last point I have here is R&D. Everybody knows what R&D is, right? Research and development. Not in real estate. I love this. I stole this from Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry says, rip off and duplicate. R&D, everybody, rip off and duplicate. The secret is there are no new ideas. There aren't. It's been done before, right? So rework it. Take a great idea that somebody else had, make it your own. Don't just regurgitate. Make it your own. Redevelop what they've put out there and make it your own, right? And then share it with people and educate them and entertain them, and you'll see fantastic results. Okay, now you're all social media geniuses. Do you have any questions? I've unmuted everybody. Go ahead, Barb.
I had one, Doug.
Yeah.
Which Friday of the week should we do it?
Which Friday of the week? The second Friday every week.
No, I was just being silly because it stays the same. I just thought it was funny.
That's good. Anybody else? Stacy, you look like you're chomping at the bit to say something.
No. I just thought Barb was funny.
Doug, I want to talk to Tom.
Okay.
Yep.
Tom and
Want us to leave the room?
No.
Okay.
Tom and I went to Barrie or somewhere. Aurelia, where Casino Rama is where we were. And we saw that Danny Woods, didn't we, Tom?
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. Like Danny's a great guy. He comes to Peterborough fairly often. He loves to come up and do like the stand-up paddle boarding and stuff on the river. He really seems to like Peterborough. He's done some webinars for us in the past years ago, and I run into him at functions from time to time and chat with him. Great guy, really knowledgeable, and just loves to share. So look him up.
Yeah.
Friend him on Facebook.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Go
ahead,
just
Andrew.
quickly. You mentioned the blogs. Do we have any timeline on that at all?
No timeline on it, but there is some communication coming out of corporate office to the managers and brokers about making some things happen. They are very displeased with the delays we've seen from REW, so hopefully we see some action soon, but the noise is getting louder on getting this stuff up and running and fixed. Okay. If worst case scenario, we never get a blog built into our website as we were promised by Real Estate Webmasters, you can build them for free. And Facebook kind of functions like a blog. You guys know I do martial arts on keep my sanity. My sensei writes every single day. He writes some kind of an article about learning or about another martial art or about an experience he had, or he's also a photographer, so he writes about photography, all this stuff. But every single day, he probably writes 1,200 to 1,500 words a day and posts them on Facebook. And that same content, he is bundling into books. He's released 2 books in the last week of this content that he's created over the years. So you guys could do the same thing. You post every single day, or you post every week. Let's say you posted once a week. 2,000 word essay once a week, or some article about some topic that was important to you. At the end of the year, let's say you take 2 weeks off of writing, you got 50 articles that are 2,000 words each. That's 100,000 words for a book. And all of a sudden, you're an author. Put it into a PDF, call it an ebook, and offer it for free online, and call yourself a published author when you go to talk to your clients. When you go to do a talk somewhere, I'm a published author. And it's valid because you've genuinely put this thing together, right? So you can reuse the content too as you go forward. Stacy, go ahead.
You have a question, because of still, the COVID thing, I kind of still feel like it's inappropriate to post about real estate. Because I don't want them to think I'm out.
Sorry, 1 second. I got to mute everybody and then unmute you, okay? Because there's a lot of background noise. Can you please ask that again?
Yeah, I just kind of still feel like it's maybe inappropriate to be posting a lot about real estate because I just don't want people to think that I'm, I don't know, insensitive. And
Okay.
so I'm kind of I'm trying to do some small posts and stuff like that. And I'm responding to people. But I don't know. I just feel like real estate's a little inappropriate right now to
So
put out
you got to
there.
do what you think is best in that regard. I'm not going to suggest to you that you should be doing this stuff or you shouldn't be doing it. You need to do with what you're comfortable with. What I am going to say is search traffic is way up on real estate. Showings are way up. Deals are still happening. So, the public is thinking about real estate. It's one of the things that people have to have a place to live. So it's one of those things that we will always think about regardless of what's going on in the world. And we have a job to do. So do what you think is best. I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, in terms of the timing and what kind of content that you put out there. But if you want to do this, I hope that what I've shared with you is a good template of how to do it.
Yeah, a lot of useful information. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, anything else?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna ask what's the difference between the blog feature that we're waiting for and the websites we have now? I feel like I took old blog posts. Well, I know I did. I took an old blog post from the old website and just plunked it in to the new one in like a blog widget. Can we not just be blogging that way?
You have a blog widget?
Well, no, I don't know if that's probably not the right term at all. But I mean, I'm just looking at our website, teamvanderhand.com, and it's on the new website platform.
So you
And
could create individual pages on your new website and put that content out there right now. Absolutely. The difference is a blog platform integrated into a website functions differently. So if you've ever used a WordPress blog, you go and you create a post and it just puts it in sequential order on your website, and it lives kind of separately from the main website. It's just blog content. We're supposed to have that functionality on our current websites. They haven't turned it on yet. REW does have the capability in their other templates, but for whatever reason, they just haven't turned it on for us. So that's the difference. What you've done is not bad. It's just too labor intensive, because if I have to go and create a page on my website and then I've got to add that page to my navigation so people can find it, there's a lot of effort involved in that. The blog platform, what it does for you, you create the content and it does all that work in the background. It indexes it on your site, creates the links, all that kind of stuff without you having to think about it. So good on you for doing that, but it's a lot of effort for something that I'm suggesting you should be doing on a very regular basis. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, guys, thanks for coming along. We'll talk to you later.